course. Hello there. Good morning. Look at these good people over here. They're praying. They have their hands up in the air. I haven't met them yet, so I do not know where they're from. But they're my sisters and brothers. And I don't know where they're from. The world gets turned around when we live by faith. Oops. Let's get back here for our turnaround. And let's swing back to the real thing. Yeah, swinging back to the real thing. Because there you have a reflection. So you have the people say, no, I don't want a check, I don't want a credit card, I want cash. I want the real thing. I want the real thing. I want the real thing. I don't want the fake stuff. I want the real orange juice, not the processed stuff that has 10% orange juice. And then if you have a little experience, you can tell the difference. The child is going to go by the color, and then by the taste eventually, but by the color first, by the impression. Logical. We often go by the impressions first, right? Well, in a certain sense, it has to start there, and then you test the impressions if they're for real. And the wise people are people who know the difference between impressions and reflections and the real stuff. And you know that orange juice that's sold is orange juice, but it's 10% orange juice and a lot of other stuff in there. They even have color 5714 there, and they have taste enhancer 4X and B3 and whatever else, lots of water obviously, and they call it orange juice, but you want the real stuff. And there's such a difference. Like, somebody serves you a glass of fresh orange juice, and if it's slightly chilled, wow, you say, wow, that's real orange juice. Like, one of the joys here in the summertime is the taste of the mangoes. This is Mangolandia here. Originally the mangoes were grown a lot more in the Negev, and then they had a big problem with some virus, and the professor who organized all that, who brought them here, he was here once, and that's how I know about this. And he told me the story about how this area here in Genesara, this whole valley here is filled with mangoes, and they are so delicious. And this past month has been really a mango month, I guess August, and they're still coming there, you know. So it's the real thing, you know. But you could get some mango juice in a can, and it's yeah, you can recognize the mango flavor, but it's not the real thing. And here we're talking about the real thing. Yeah, I just noticed something here. Look at the way this branch is down. It's probably down like this for a long time, but I didn't notice it. Is it broken off, or is it just bent over from way back? I'm trying to figure out the source of it. If it's coming way down here, then it's... The trivia and the real stuff. The impressions and the real stuff. And this is all about wisdom. And usually you need a little age to have wisdom, although some young people can be very quickly very wise. Not just streetwise, but real wisdom about life. Last evening I had a conversation with a gentleman about whom actually I had, let's say, I had met him here in the Holy Land some years ago. And I would say like he'd be in the category of somebody that would absolutely not be enthusiastic about the Catholic Church. He would be anti-Catholic in a certain sense, you know, very strong on the Bible, very strong Christian, very negative about the church, very critical. That was my impression, right? And I had such a chat. It was actually, I looked at the phone last night, it was an hour and a quarter. We noticed each other on the social media, and this guy is amazing. And it turned out he was the fourth child in his family, and when he was born, his mother was 19. And he was the fourth child. And his father was no longer in the picture. He never knew his father as a father in his family. And he has been through so many things. He was even in prison. And he had some amazing stories inside a prison. And all I can say is that God's work happened in him. And now he has 2 boys. He's very early 30s. And this guy has such a, it's like a knife cutting through, you know, a cake. The way he just sees reality and talks about reality. It's marvelous. Marvelous, absolutely marvelous. And so much wisdom. And he's young. You know, I know a bunch of people in their late 20s and early 30s. But the wisdom this guy has, what he's been through, and the impact he's having as well is very beautiful, very, very wonderful. To gain wisdom. There are a lot of dramatic lines in the scriptures, and one of the impressions, I was struggling what I would say in the last few days about this Sunday readings and how I would cut it. And just yesterday, in a moment of prayer there, just kind of, there was nothing significant showing up or anything. It occurred to me that the readings today, in a way, capture an incredible amount of the entire Bible. You know, the book of wisdom comes after all the Torah and the prophets, it's like at the end of the whole period of, it's happening and it's growing, because you have wisdom attributed to Solomon, obviously, but that's also after a long time. That's a long time after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then you could say that Abraham was very wise from the beginning because he followed God and he put God first in an absolute way. And in that sense, what Abraham did is exactly what the gospel is speaking about. And I don't think Abraham hated his son. On the contrary, he loved him. He saw all his hope there to a point, because he knew that God was his hope. And that's why he was ready and able, in the culture of that time, where human sacrifice was widespread, and of course it is again today, but for the wrong reasons. It's always wrong to sacrifice a human being, but there's so much in the readings today, because it uses very strong language. It talks about, if you want to be my disciple, you have to hate your mother and your father and your brothers and your sisters. But we have to look at that word hate a little bit. But it's more like to renounce yourself and take up your cross. That's also in there today. And it's to leave everything, all your possessions. And then there are many other phrases that are used in the Gospels, not just here in this passage. It's about, you can't serve 2 masters. Maybe that's a key to these texts today. If you're serving 2 masters, you're going to have a split allegiance. And you can't do that with God. You can't have a split allegiance to God. You can't do a little bit for God just to keep him in the picture. At the end of the day, maybe you're going to be like that for years, but you're going to end up saying, God, I surrender. I let you be Lord, true Lord. Lord means have total dominion. And the thing is, when we do that, we don't lose our dominion in the sense that we are still responsible and we have our actions and we decide freely. In fact, our freedom comes truly into focus when we have this. And it's a very different freedom than we have in the concepts of political freedom and economic freedom and social freedom. It's an absolute freedom because it's just me before God, and everything I do is in that relationship. And it's the end of slavery. And that's what we see also in the reading today. The letter to Onesimus. A famous, very short little letter, filled with the wisdom of Paul. He's towards the end of his life. And it's really an expression that slavery already has received a major blow. It did at the Last Supper when Jesus washed the feet. He said, I am the Lord among you, but I washed like a slave, like a servant. That was the job of the slave in the Roman Empire, in the Roman society. And then we have the word there about at the end of the psalm, prosper the work of our hands. And really, if you think about it, who did anything in the Bible by themselves? Did Abraham give himself a son? No way. He was 100 years old when he got his son. Did Zechariah and Elizabeth give themselves a son, John the Baptist, in their old age? No way. Did Moses bring the people out of Egypt? No way. God did that. Moses was just an agent for God. Prosper the work of our hands. God is the one doing the work of our hands. God is the one doing the stuff. God is moving the weight. God is giving the inspiration. So I don't know. I was just thrilled as I worked through the readings yesterday, once and twice and 3 times, and wondering what's here. And I just found the whole Bible. The whole Bible is in today's readings, and it's not just like knowledge of the Bible. It's like relationship. It's the relationship with God. So many angles of the relationship with God are worked, are exercised, like a gym with all the different machines and tools and stuff for exercise, or a carpentry shop with chisels and hammers and saws and clamps and all the stuff that you need for a carpenter. And we kind of have the whole Bible kit is in the readings today. The relationship to material things, the relationship to family, the relationship to ourselves. Take up your cross and follow me. Don't make so much out of yourself. Just get your act together and follow. Just drop the smoking. Drop that excessive use of drink. Drop that ugly word you say when people are not nice. Drop the anger. That's the kind of hatred that's not good, when hatred is coming out of anger. The hatred here is not a hatred out of anger. There's a wonderful thing in German. I was blessed to be working in Germany 11 years, and all my ministry was in German, basically. And there's 3 words come to mind. Achten is like how you see stuff. And verachten is to despise and hate stuff. And gering achten is to not overvalue stuff, to put it in its place. It's like not to give it great value. It's okay. Its flowers are wonderful, and I love them, and they're beautiful and everything. But like, if a petal falls to the ground here, I'm not going to be weeping. It's kind of, it has its value, but it's also fleeting. It's only here for a day, and I'm only here for a second looking at it, and I'm going on because I have to go to help somebody and serve somebody. And so gering achten is to and then there's hochachten. That means to highly appreciate somebody. Hochachtung. And especially before God. Like astonishment in my contemplation of God, of the top priority in my life, everything. That's why I leave everything. It's amazing, shock when, especially with Israelis here, and you know they want to give me a tip after giving them a tour. And I say, well, you can put it in the box over there for the community. No, I want to give it to you. Well, actually, you know, just let me tell you, I don't own a penny since 1974. And I don't say that because of boasting, but I just like say it because of the evangelical shock of the thing. Because it's gospel wisdom. Actually, there are 3 counsels in the gospel, and they're called evangelical counsels, advice, wisdom, and Jesus invited people to follow them, and one of them is to live without owning anything. Give up everything, leave everything, and follow me. Another one is to be a eunuch for the kingdom of heaven, and he talks about the 3 kinds of eunuchs, to be totally consecrated in heart and mind and soul to God. And then the third one is the most difficult one, is to be obedient, to follow, to be a disciple, to follow, to be ready to do what we're asked, to be ready to serve, to do God's will. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's kind of a tough one because God's will in heaven is done perfectly. Thy will be done on earth as it is in my kitchen as it is in heaven. Thy will be done in my workplace as it is in heaven. Thy will be done in my relationships as it is in heaven. So this is, and it's all pure gift because God prospers the work of our hands. He prospers the work of our life. He prospers everything we do, our prayer, our conversations, or even our business. People, God bless you. See you later, alligators. It's a great Sunday. Wish you a very blessed Sunday. Go into the Word of God and see where it's in that for you today. It's an amazing thing. And you have the link there. It's an amazing thing. Amazing thing. Enjoy it. Delight in it. Rejoice in it. Have a blessed Sunday. Oops. Did I turn around again? That was not intentional. I meant to hit the finish button.